Hello and welcome to another segment of DSU Inside Perspective. I'm Carlos Holmes, and this is the show where we talk with faculty, staff, students, alumni, and guests about some of the things that are going on in the world or some of the great things that are going on here at Delaware State University. Today I have Phillip Holmes, no relation, but he is the director of Housing and Residential Education here at Delaware State University. Mr. Holmes, thank you for being here today.
It's wonderful to be
I thought
here.
I'd get you on here and talk a little bit about housing and what students need to do. We're in spring semester. It's time to be getting ready to take care of one's business when it comes to coming back here for the next school year. So, and certainly housing falls into that category. So now when we're talking about students and housing, and next year we're talking about obviously returning students. If a student is in a room that they really like right now, a residential hall or apartment room that they really like right now, and they want to stay in that same room, what do they need to do?
That's the easiest part of this process. Between April 4th and 14th, they can renew their room. So again, like you said, if they want to stay in the room that they're in, all they have to do is fill out that application to stay in the room that they're currently in right now. So that's really easy.
So now, does that require a new application?
We will send out a renewal application to them, giving them the chance to do that. So basically, it's just them saying, yes, I want to stay where I'm at.
Okay, April 4th to 14th for that one.
April 4th
now,
to
we
14th.
have a lot of students, though, especially those that live in the more traditional residential halls. They want to move over to the east side with the Jeffersons.
That's right.
And to the coveted, facilities. What are the coveted residential facilities on
On
campus?
our campus, there's two areas. There's University Village, is usually the #1 spot everybody wants to go to, and then there's University Courtyard Apartments, okay? So those are the two coveted places on campus that everybody wants to flock to. But what they need to know is everybody wants to go there, so they're all applying.
Okay. So is there an application period for the Village Apartments and the Courtyard Apartments?
Yes, it is. That's on April 18th, okay? Now, in order to get that application, they must pay their deposit and register for classes. Those are the two important things.
Before they apply?
Before they apply. Matter of fact, they'll never get the application if they don't do those two very important things. Okay? Then they will be sent the email link on the 18th, and good luck.
But they have to be ready to go. Now, let's say they have fulfilled those requirements, okay? They've registered, they've paid their deposit, but they got to jump up and fill out the application. They got to act, right?
As soon as it's sent to them in their email, they have to pay attention to the DSU email.
Because I noticed when you were talking about students returning to their rooms, you had a window of opportunity there between April 4th and April 14th. But you just gave me 1 day.
Yes, there's a reason for that.
Why is that?
On that 1 day, we will have enough to fill both of those areas.
Okay.
That's how serious it is, and that's how competitive it is to live in those areas.
And that's been the track record pretty much.
That's been the track record.
Okay.
Yeah.
We also have the Commons facility.
Warren Franklin.
I guess Warren Franklin. Okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of that's. Now, what about those facilities? The application process for those?
That would be the next day.
April
19th
Okay.
will be for Warren Franklin for the Commons. Same deal with that. In that 1 day, we should have enough to fill the whole building and have a list of people that are barely missing out.
Okay. Now, when we were chatting earlier, we were talking about a social media element of this that might be helpful to the students. So talk about that.
Yeah, very, very true. Since it is so competitive, what I tried to do in order to obtain followers for our Twitter account, I will warn my Twitter followers when exactly that application is coming. So I'm telling you the 18th and 19th, but I'm not telling you a time, right? So if you're one of our followers,
could be in the afternoon.
could be, yeah. So if you follow us, I will warn you. I'll give you a 15-minute window. Say, hey, 10 o'clock.
That's follow on Twitter.
On Twitter.
Okay.
And that's at DSU_DHRE, which stands for Department of Housing and Residential Education.
Okay. All right. So if they're following you and they got their phone hooked up to Twitter and they get their alerts,
Right.
they'll know.
They'll know ahead of time.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's good to be in the know.
All right, all right. Well, it's very competitive, but the students have a responsibility in this too.
They do. Like we said, in order to obtain that link, they have to do a little work on the front end. They have to get with their advisors, make sure that they're getting the right classes, and also have to pay that deposit on record there. So there's a sense of responsibility for them as well too.
Speaking of responsibilities, you employ students as residential assistants.
Yes.
And I'm sure we have some students out there that might be interested in such a job. Okay, what do they need to do to obtain a job as a residential assistant?
I'm glad you talked about that because next week is a big week. It's our
now
interest meetings.
Today is February the 3rd.
Yes.
Okay.
So Wednesday, which is the 8th, at 7 p.m., will be the first interest meeting for RAs.
Will there be subsequent interest meetings afterwards?
There'll be one the next day on the 9th
Okay.
at the Common Hour at 11 o'clock, both held in the Laws Hall lobby and lounge.
Okay.
It's very competitive there too. Sometimes we might only have, say, 20 positions, but we're having 160 people apply for them.
Whoa.
Reason being is that we only want the best on the team. The job is too important to just give that out. There are benefits. There's free housing involved, so we're talking about not having to go through this whole process that we were talking about,
Right.
And not to mention the monetary benefits of that as well too.
Right.
But we also want the students to know that it's important. We're really proud of our students that are RAs now. For such a large group on campus, we have a 3.24 grade point average amongst them. So we're talking about great students, great role models.
But you're looking for mature students.
We are.
And mature students typically are students that take care of their business academically anyway.
They're connected, aren't
right,
they?
Right.
Yes, they're very much connected. And again, we're just so proud of them because, if police are called on campus, safety is a big thing for us. When the police are called, guess who's usually the ones that are doing that? We're in the front lines, and again, we just want the best students that are able to be mature enough, as you say, to handle such a job.
Well, what are the requirements to be a RA?
I'm glad you asked that. I would have missed it. 2.7 grade point average. That's higher than most in the nation. We raised it just simply because I know DSU students can do that, and they've responded tremendously. Also, you got to be minimal on the judicials. We try to say no judicials, but sometimes if it's a minor offense, we can look past that. But basically, we want students who are upholding the student code of conduct because they have to do that amongst their peers. So.
Okay. Yeah. And then they just got to get in the fray with everybody else. And
I don't want to say it's easy. There's interviews involved. We do a lot of team builders. We really want to get to know that student before we give them the position because it's that important.
Well, what do you generally have more of, female or male RAs?
Females always do what they're supposed to do. We're always way more females.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're lacking in males quite a bit.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they just, I don't know, they might be a little smarter than us. But, so we're always looking for males. So if is there any guys out there that fit the criteria, I would advise you to apply for this job.
I would think the offer of free housing plus get paid at the same time.
Right. You put a little money in your pocket as well too.
Now, are these for employment at all the facilities, including the university, the courtyard apartments, the village, as well as the traditional?
Yes, we have RAs in every one of our 9 facilities on campus. They do not have a say-so of where they go, as once we pick the finalists, the resident directors actually choose. We have a draft. That's my football background. So we have like a football draft, and we pick the people for the area. So they don't have a say-so where they go. We just offer the job. If they take it, welcome to the team.
I have to tell this story, because we share the same last name. And I just looked at us. We've both got similar colored shirts on, light blue.
Thanks for calling me this morning.
Yes, and When I got my light blue Chrysler 300, I drove on campus I drove on campus with my car a few years ago to find out this brother had a light blue 300 too. So
I got it first.
He got it first.
Yeah.
He got it first. You're doing a wonderful job over there in housing and residential education, and I hope this will be helpful to the students who are interested in housing or interested in becoming a residential assistant. And we thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for another segment of DSU Inside Perspective. If you got to get housing, get on it. Get those requirements taken care of. If you want to be a residential assistant, take care of that business too.
We want you.
All right. Everybody have a good day. We'll see you next time.